What's up, everybody? So if you've been following Steven Avery's case, the Making a Murderer case, you probably heard by now that he had his most recent attempt to get an evidentiary hearing, to get a new trial, to get anything denied once again on yesterday, January the 15th, 2025. Since then, Kathleen Zellner, Jerry Buting, and Ken Kratz have all come out and commented on the situation. I did a video on that yesterday. I will link it in the description below, as well as I went over the complete file. I will also link that below in case you want to see everything that was in it. Since then, WBay.com has put out an article on the filing as well, also linked in the description. Let's go over that article. Here's what it states. An appeals court has rejected Steven Avery's latest request for a hearing on new evidence as the convicted murderer proclaiming his innocence seeks a new trial. The Wisconsin Court of Appeals in District 2 issued a ruling Wednesday morning yesterday saying it disagreed with Avery's appeal on all three issues raised, including the request to hear evidence of a possible new suspect, and instead sided with the lower courts. On appeal, Steven Avery argues his motion was sufficiently pled to warrant an evidentiary hearing. We disagree and affirm the circuit court's order. That's what the ruling read. This is the third time Steven Avery went before this court with an appeal. Kathleen Zellner said yesterday that their next step is the Supreme Court of Wisconsin. Steven Avery's attorney, Kathleen Zellner, sought a Denny motion for admitting evidence a third party may have committed the crime, but in its 22-page ruling, the court rejected the arguments and the evidence as speculative. When the theory of how the third party committed the crime requires that person to have carried out a series of complicated and difficult tasks, it is not enough to show the third party's mere presence at the scene and an unaccounted for period of time, the court said. Steven Avery's attorneys were denied using a Denny motion at his state trial because they didn't have convincing evidence to tell the jury another person likely committed the crime. The Court of Appeals is still not convinced Steven Avery's appellate lawyer has it. Kathleen Zellner pointed a judicial finger at a third party in the murder after previously arguing that new evidence and witnesses prove Steven Avery's innocence. Action 2 News is not publishing the name of the third party since no criminal charges have been filed. They linked the filing, but it says here they're not going to say the name. The name in the filing is, of course, we all know they are alleging it's Bobby Dassey. That would sustain the allegations. That person was a key witness against Steven Avery in the 2007 trial. It's funny that they link the filing but won't print it here. It's weird. Kathleen Zellner told the appellate court witnesses can provide new and undisputed evidence that her suspect was seen pushing Teresa Halbach's vehicle, that of course is Thomas Sawinski, with blood and clothing evidence into the salvage yard in the middle of the night, planting it where it would easily be discovered the next day. She also alleged evidence was planted in a burn barrel near Steven Avery's home, in his bedroom and in his garage, and a bullet with Teresa Halbach's DNA on it was planted by the killer. The District 2 Court of Appeals remained unconvinced, raising a number of unanswered questions. Steven Avery failed to offer anything other than speculation that the third party possessed Teresa Halbach's RAV4, its keys, or her electronics. Steven Avery only offered conclusionary statements and speculation they would be able to successfully collect and plant Steven Avery's blood in a way that went undetected by crime scene professionals. Steven Avery also did not explain how the third party had access to any of the other forensic evidence in this case. Another question was the third party's motive. Kathleen Zellner's theory is that the killer had an obsession with violence based on violent pornography images on the family's computer, but the court says that's not supported by the records in Steven Avery's motion, and there's no proof their suspect was the one who searched for the pictures on a computer shared by other family members. Don't forget, some of those searches were done when he was allegedly the only person in the house at the time. So either he wasn't the only other person in the house at the time, or he did the searches. It's got to be one or the other. The appellate court said Steven Avery only met 2 of the criteria that needed to be met to establish clear and convincing evidence for a new trial. Steven Avery failed to demonstrate that the evidence was material to his third-party perpetrator defense. So where else do we go here? That's the article. It is linked in the description below. And since then, Mark Hodnott, who's a big Steven Avery and Brendan Dassey supporter, came out on X just recently and put this out. And it raises a good question. And I'm going to do a separate video on this, but we'll just talk about it here for a second. He said, why is Bobby Dassey's statement that he saw Teresa Halbach's car was still in the salvage yard when he left at 3:45 p.m. considered reliable, but Thomas Sawinski seeing Bobby pushing Teresa's car on Avery Road 4 days later, unsubstantiated speculation, selective justice? That's why. So he wants to know why one person's opinion is considered fact in this case, and another person's opinion is being told it's purely speculative. I asked a question similar to this on X yesterday at New Scott. It's not allegedly a show anymore on X. It's at New Scott if you want to follow. And people think he's lying. People think he did it for the money. And they have every right to have that opinion. But it does raise a good question. Why is one person's opinion taken as fact and the other person's opinion, what he said, is just he's either lying or it's speculative? It's interesting. I want to know what you think, and I'm going to do a video on this. I have another idea for a video involving this and Bobby Dassey and the RAV4. What do you think? Let me know. Leave some comments below. I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you again soon.